The original Relearning Flow project page described the pipeline as a way to go from idea to published audio in one conversation. That was a good description of the interface, but it is no longer the best description of the system underneath. The two clearest reasons the system had to evolve were, first, the current TUI model makes nested sub-agent orchestration awkward for long-running work. If the main agent calls a sub-agent for a multi-step task, the main lane is still structurally tied to that call. And second, I wanted the output layer to expand beyond scattered social posts into something more durable, which meant adding YouTube as a playlist surface. The solution was to spawn workers with their own PTYs and treat the conversation as the command surface, but the actual execution as a swarm of workers with separate terminal backlanes and explicit ownership. Each worker can now have its own operating context, its own helper-driven prompt contract, its own callback path, and its own ability to keep working independently while the main orchestrator remains free to manage the run. In practice, that means 3 roles. W1 owns the run, it gathers the brief, validates paths, creates the scenarios JSON, launches workers, waits for callbacks, updates front matter, and owns the final git publish sequence. W2 handles the timing sensitive side, quen scene audio, manifest parody, journal audio generation, and audio deployment. W3 owns composition and video delivery, composition setup, preview and still review, master render, LinkedIn transcode, and local YouTube upload when in scope. The second major update was distribution. LinkedIn carried too much of the burden. It worked in the narrow sense, but it was not a great archive. Posts disappear into timeline churn. Retrieval is awkward. YouTube solves a different problem. It is not just another social endpoint, it is a better long-term container for a series. The moment I started thinking in terms of a playlist, the rationale became obvious. The videos become easier to browse and sequence, the archive becomes easier to revisit, and the content becomes easier to share as a body of work. If I had to rewrite the Relearning Flow thesis now, I would say this. The interface is still one conversation, but underneath that interface, the system is now a swarm architecture operating across 3 planes. Authoring for canonical content creation and approval, media for audio, manifest timing, render and upload work, and distribution for platform-specific publishing surfaces. The big upgrade was not only better outputs, it was better separation of concerns. The system learned to stop treating all work as if it belonged in one lane. It learned to stop treating all platforms as if they shared the same auth and archival needs. And it learned that helpers are what make a swarm reliable instead of chaotic. Not just automation, not just sub-agents, a swarm with real lanes, real contracts, and a media library that can now grow into an actual video playlist instead of dissolving into scattered posts. That feels like the more mature version of Relearning Flow. The conversation still matters. It is just no longer mistaken for the whole machine.